I was standing outside my own graduation party, in heels that were starting to hurt and a dress I had saved up months to buy, staring through the glass doors while everyone else celebrated inside. And the worst part? It was my own aunt who told me to wait outside. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "It's just for close family," like I wasn't one of them. I remember laughing at first because I thought it had to be a joke, but it wasn't, and that's when it hit me. They didn't want me there. So tell me honestly, was I wrong for what I did next? I guess I should start from the beginning, because this didn't just come out of nowhere. My family has always been complicated. I grew up with my mom, who worked 2 jobs just to keep us afloat. My dad wasn't really in the picture, and the rest of the family, especially my aunt, liked to remind us of that in subtle, sometimes not so subtle ways. My aunt, the same one who told me to wait outside that night, always acted like she was the head of the family. She was wealthy, well-connected, and hosted all the big events, weddings, birthdays, holidays. If something important was happening, it was happening under her roof or her rules. Growing up, I was always the extra kid at those gatherings. You know the type. The one who sits quietly in the corner, who gets the hand-me-down compliments, who's included just enough so no one can accuse them of being cruel, but never enough to actually feel like they belong. My cousins, especially her daughter, had everything. Private schools, new clothes every season, expensive gifts on every occasion. Meanwhile, I learned early on not to ask for too much, but I worked hard. Really hard. School became my escape, and I poured everything into it. Late nights, early mornings, skipping outings, ignoring distractions. I did all of it because I had one goal, to graduate with honors and prove, at least to myself, that I was worth something, and I did it. I graduated at the top of my class. My teachers were proud. My friends were proud. And for once, I thought maybe, just maybe, my family would be proud too. A few weeks before graduation, my aunt announced she would be hosting a big celebration for the family, graduates. My cousin was also graduating that year. So the party was technically for both of us, or at least that's what I thought. My mom was hesitant at first. She said, "You know how they are. Don't expect too much." But I didn't listen. I wanted to believe this would be different. I wanted to believe they'd finally see me. I even helped plan parts of the event. I suggested themes, offered to help with decorations, and spent hours picking out the perfect outfit because, for once, I wanted to feel like I belonged in that world. My aunt smiled and nodded through it all, acting supportive, even calling me sweetheart, in that overly polished tone she used when she wanted to seem kind. The day of the party came, and I remember feeling nervous but excited. My mom and I arrived a little early, thinking we could help set up. The venue was beautiful, string lights, elegant tables, a stage set up for speeches. Everything looked like something out of a movie. For a moment, I felt proud, like this was my moment too. But then things started to feel off. People greeted my cousin with hugs, laughter, and loud congratulations. When they saw me, it was more like polite nods. "Oh, you're here too," that kind of energy. I brushed it off, telling myself I was overthinking. I stuck close to my mom, trying to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. Then my aunt pulled me aside. She had that same tight smile on her face, the one that never quite reached her eyes. "Hey, can you step outside for a minute?" she said casually, like she was asking me to grab something from the car. Confused, I followed her out. And that's when she said it. "It's just for close family," she told me, crossing her arms like she was stating a fact. We didn't want things to feel crowded. I blinked at her, trying to process what she meant. "I am close family," I said, my voice already starting to shake. She sighed like I was being difficult. "You know what I mean. This is really more for my daughter, her friends, her circle. It would just be better if you waited outside for now." Waited outside, at my own graduation party. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. My face burned with embarrassment, anger, and something deeper, something that felt like heartbreak. I looked back through the glass doors and saw everyone laughing, taking pictures, celebrating. And I realized none of it was really for me. My mom came out a few minutes later, her expression already telling me she knew something was wrong. When I told her what happened, she looked furious, but also defeated, like this was something she had expected all along. "We can leave," she said quietly. But I didn't want to leave. Not yet. Because something inside me snapped in that moment. All those years of being overlooked, talked down to, treated like I didn't belong, they all came rushing back at once. And I realized something. If I walked away quietly again, Nothing would ever change. So I stayed. I stood outside for a while, pretending to check my phone, trying to calm down. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I could hear music and laughter from inside, and every sound felt like a reminder of how little they valued me. And that's when I made a decision. But before I tell you what I did next, I want you to really think about this. If you were in my position, after years of being treated like you didn't matter, and then being told to literally stand outside your own celebration, what would you have done? Would you have walked away quietly, or would you have done something to finally stand up for yourself? Go ahead and think about it. Maybe even comment what you would have done, because what I did next changed everything. I walked back inside, not quietly, not hesitantly. I pushed those glass doors open and stepped in like I belonged there, because I did. At first, no one noticed. The music was loud, people were talking, glasses were clinking. But then my aunt saw me. Her face went pale for a split second before she quickly tried to compose herself and walked toward me. "I told you to wait outside," she hissed under her breath, grabbing my arm. I pulled away. "No," I said louder than I expected. "You don't get to tell me that." A few people nearby started to turn and look. The room slowly began to quiet down, curiosity spreading like a ripple. "This is my graduation too," I continued, my voice shaking but strong enough to carry. "I worked just as hard as anyone here, and you're not going to make me feel like I don't belong." My cousin looked uncomfortable, standing off to the side, while my aunt's expression hardened. "This is not the time or place," she snapped. "Exactly," I shot back. "It's not the time or place to pretend I'm not family." At that point, all eyes were on us. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, but I didn't stop. "I couldn't. For years you've treated me like I'm less than," I said. "Like I'm some kind of outsider. But I'm done with that. I'm done staying quiet." The room was completely silent now. My aunt tried to laugh it off like I was being dramatic. "You're overreacting. We just wanted a small gathering." "Then you should have said that from the start," I replied, instead of humiliating me. And then I did something no one expected. I walked up to the stage. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the microphone. But once I started speaking, something shifted. It was like all the fear drained out of me, replaced by something stronger. "Hi," I said, my voice echoing through the room. "I know this is supposed to be a celebration, and it is. For me too. I graduated at the top of my class, and I'm proud of that, even if not everyone here is." There were murmurs in the crowd. "I just want to say," I continued, "that no one should ever be made to feel like they don't belong in their own family. And if you've ever felt that way, I hope you know it's not because of you, it's because of them." I handed the mic back and stepped down. No yelling, no chaos, just silence. My mom was crying, but not in a sad way. It was like she was proud, and then something unexpected happened. One of my relatives, someone I barely even talked to, started clapping. Then another, and another, until a good portion of the room was applauding. My aunt looked furious, completely blindsided. She tried to regain control of the situation, but it was too late. The atmosphere had shifted. People were whispering, looking at her differently. For the rest of the night, things were awkward. Some people came up to congratulate me, genuinely this time. Others avoided eye contact altogether. My cousin stayed distant, clearly uncomfortable with the whole situation. And my aunt? She barely spoke to me again that evening. Eventually, my mom and I decided to leave. But this time, I wasn't walking out feeling small. I felt free. In the days that followed, the fallout was intense. Some family members said I was brave. Others said I was disrespectful and that I ruined the party. My aunt, of course, painted herself as the victim, telling anyone who would listen that I embarrassed her for no reason. But here's the thing, I don't regret it. Not for a second. Because for the first time in my life, I stood up for myself. I didn't let them define my worth or push me aside. And even if it made things messy, even if it caused tension, it was worth it. Now, my relationship with that side of the family is distant, to say the least. We don't talk much anymore, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I've learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about respect, support, and love. And if those things aren't there, then what's the point? Looking back, that night could have broken me, but instead it changed me. So if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. Especially not the people who are supposed to stand by you. Know your worth, and don't be afraid to stand up for it, even if your voice shakes. If you were on my side, go ahead and like this video. If you've ever been in a situation like this, or if you think I handled it differently than you would have, share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear your perspective. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, because trust me, there are plenty more. I'll see you all in the next story.